Welcome to the Market My STR Show, the show made exclusively for short-term rental owners and co-hosts that actually works, so you can stop wasting time and money on short-term rental and co-hosting marketing strategies that don't work. Listen in for tips, tricks, and our book solid, move the needle, and core 4 marketing strategies. Here's your host, Scott Hill.
Hi, and welcome to the 9th episode of the Market My STR Show, our podcast where we talk about everything short-term rental marketing with a pretty significant focus these days on co-hosting and the journey that Jeremy Levine and I are taking to build a co-hosting business in 2 areas of the country and strategically starting in and along the beaches of 30A. And so welcome to the podcast. If you have listened to us, thank you for continuing to support us. If you haven't, this is your first time, then we hope we deliver some content for you that makes you a better co-host and a better short-term rental owner. Jeremy, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. If anybody doesn't know where 30A is, because I have ran into where I tell people what we're doing and they go, "Where is 30A?" So between Panama City Beach and Destin on the panhandle of Florida is the first location that we're currently trying to get our first client.
So today we're proving that should never miss a podcast because you are joining us from another location, one of your favorite places to be in the world, and I am joining you still from home base, but nevertheless, we're pulling this off. So where are you hailing from today?
Yeah, no, well, I appreciate it. We normally do this on Friday. You were willing to push it a day to Saturday. My buddy and business partner in the Poconos has a house out in Ocean Beach, Fire Island. I've been coming out here every summer, probably since I was like 24. Initially with summer shares, and now it's a weekend here or there. But this is one last gasp of summer. It's a beautiful weekend out here. So Thursday we decided to scoot out and hang out for the weekend. So doing it from the second floor deck. Hopefully, connection is good here, but beautiful day. So this will be probably the only work I do today. It's going to be beach and college football later.
All right, well, let's get this work out of the way. For us, I'm not sure we would call it work at this point.
Yeah,
but
that's true. It's definitely not work. It's fun.
Yeah, it's work compared to what you're doing, but not work. I think you and I are wired to work, so I think part work is at times a hobby and just plain fun at other times. And when together, I think is more fun than separate. So, all right. Anyway.
Yep.
So what we do here, if it's your first time listening, is we go over what we did the past week and what we're going to do this upcoming week. We talk about our wins and losses, our challenges. Jeremy and I are building a co-host company. For those of you who don't know what co-hosting is, it is what we would describe as an elevated version of property management in a couple very specific ways. But in either case, we have 0 clients yet in our target market. Why Jeremy is a client of mine is because Jeremy has done this for the last 5 years. He's had at least 11 at one point, right?
Yeah, including owned. I had 13 listings in the Poconos, which I've scaled down. Which we've now scaled down. So I have 2 that are owned with Tom, 1 management client, and the idea was I was scaling down because you and I are building alt there, and that's where 100% of the focus needs to go.
And like many of the people who get into this business, you have essentially what we would refer to as a full-time gig right now. So describe what that is.
Yeah, essentially construction management, real estate project management for clients in New York City. So managing their development projects, construction projects, doing a big one in Midtown at the moment and finishing a high school renovation out in Brooklyn.
And as if that wasn't busy enough, talk about personally you growing a family and all that and all the challenges that come with that too.
Yeah. So we have a 22-month-old daughter and working towards, growing our family from 3 to 4, which has definitely had some challenges. Maybe at some point I'll go into it a little bit deeper, but we're working through that, and hopefully, at some point in the next 1 to 2 years, we can grow that to 4.
So the point is you're busy. You have decided to grow a co-hosting business together, and that the reason for this podcast is how we navigate that whole thing, and the agreement and the really the realization you and I have come together that life happens, right? Life is happening, and we're still dedicated and committed to building a co-host process, even though there's other stuff going on in our
Right.
lives.
And I mean, you technically have three other businesses, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Life is
it's not.
busy. Life is busy. But when
Yeah,
we rank, we know together, I think we committed each other that Altvare, ULTVARE, is a real priority in our lives. I think I list it number 2 in my business priorities, and I think you're the same way for now. And then ultimately, I
100%.
think we're both desiring it to be number 1, right? So,
Yep, absolutely. Hopefully sooner than later.
yeah, sooner than later. Okay, so let's get to it. This past week, Jeremy, what did you get accomplished with Altvare
Yeah,
specifically?
so I failed on meeting my goals this past week. The podcast is one which we did. I did post a Facebook ad, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And I made some progress on the Notion class and the STR Secrets class. Where I failed was the most important thing, which is kind of getting our documents together. What I'm saying is a document from client lead to or lead to becoming a client, so that we have our presentation documents ready to go when we actually do have a client on the phone. That needs to be essentially priority number one here. So uh, going forward, until that's done, that's going to be priority number one in Altvare.
So there might be people listening to this podcast saying, "Why on earth would you have podcast as a goal for this week?"
Hmm.
And just speak to why you do believe doing a podcast is so important to Altvare.
Well, I think one is accountability on our end, right? I think that's a big one. You and I have an accountability group on Fridays that holds us to our goals. But if we're out here saying these are the things we're going to do, we're going to make sure we meet them. And if we don't, it's a problem. And I didn't hit it this week, so I need to make sure I pick it up and do it this coming week. And then just sharing our wins and losses, I think, is a nice big plus, and hopefully helping some other people, build their businesses maybe faster than we are, following in our footsteps.
Yeah, yeah. So go giver. I mean, I know you
Yeah,
to be a go giver, and I know you to be accountable to both me, yourself, and anybody else who's listening. So us putting ourselves out there publicly is a way to hold ourselves accountable to the goals we have, right? Which is over
100%.
the next 12 to 24 months, we want to have at least 11 clients.
Yep.
11, 10, 11,
Yeah.
more than 10 clients, I guess, is what we're both saying 12 to 24 months from now. So,
Yep.
um, all right, so that was what you did this week. Here's what I did this
Yeah.
week. This past week, I tested and published internally what I've developed as our social media content agent. And I want to take that for a test drive today. I want to show that. We're going to have some fun with that to see what
Nice.
it looks like in action, and so that people may get some value out of that. I
Yeah.
published. I can't take credit for this. Kimmy helped me, our VA assistant. We published the draft versions of the 11 30A ultimate guides to buying and owning a luxury property. And those are all up on our website. The reason they're up is because of the next goal that I had, which I accomplished, which was to call at least 25 recommended 30A agents by ChatGPT. And that was fun. And you know this because I told you guys
Yep.
about it, but I'll tell the audience about it. I typed into ChatGPT, I would like to contact an agent in, and I mentioned Inlet Beach was the first community I started with. And I said, I would first like for you to tell me, ChatGPT, what I should be looking for in a Inlet Beach real estate pro. And ChatGPT came back with like 10 factors. And so it came with the factors. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. All right, ChatGPT, what's your next recommendation? And ChatGPT
Hmm.
said, hey, go research all of these agents based on this criteria. I'm like, okay, but why not? Why not you do it? Like, I don't want to do it. So it said, okay, I'll do it. And it came back with, I think it was like 7 agents that it recommended for all of these factors. And it was recent sales. It was like a public discussion about these particular communities by the person, either on their website or anywhere else. And it was just all these factors. I won't go into all the factors here, but the point being, I did it for every community. And because we're going to be working in 11 communities, it came up with approximately 75 agents. So my strategy was that I started calling them And when they answered the phone, I said, "Hey, Jeremy, it's Scott, and you are not going to believe this, but I was referred to you by," and I would kind of pause. So they're like, "Oh, it's a referral," and I would say,
Yeah.
"ChatGPT of all places," and every reaction I got was laughter. Like it
Yeah,
was
it's amazing.
laughter. It was disarming. It
Icebreaker.
it was an exactly. It was an
Yeah.
icebreaker that made the conversation so much less stressful for everybody involved.
I love it.
For all of us who don't like cold calling, it was unbelievable, right? It totally disarmed that. For the person on the other end of the line, which we're always worried about because they don't want to be talking to someone they don't know, that was a. It was like I of the I made at least 25 calls. I talked to at least 10 agents, and on several occasions I got, "Oh my gosh, that is so flattering." That's literally what I got. Like almost as good as if someone really referred me to this agent.
Right. Right.
And in one case, the lady was actually on ChatGPT when I called, doing something different.
Love it.
The point in all that is you don't have to make it a cold call. I mean, you can really take the edge off by doing something like that and being honest. Like I was sincere and honest. It's exactly what happened. I actually did it, and their name actually came up. I have not called any agent not on the list. I've only called
Yep.
agents. I called one agent. She had just had a baby, and she hadn't been working in the real estate industry for 18 months. And so I was like, I got up to him, I'm like, I think ChatGPT probably got that one wrong. You know what I mean? But okay, I'm not going to deviate
Just
from the
knows
list.
what she's capable of.
Yeah, but I'm not going to deviate from the list until I need to because it gave me so many agents, and therefore I can be authentic. I can be honest
Yeah.
and do exactly what I said that I did, and that was really powerful. I am headed down into our market the first week in October, and I told them all I would like to have coffee. They all said great. I sent them the resources that I would like to team up with them on. They all said great. They look at it. For all of you who are not using Market My STR and you would like to, one of the features that I engaged in inside of Market My STR was something called trigger links. So when I established my template email so that I wouldn't have to write the same email over and over
Hmm.
again, anytime I got off the phone call with somebody, I would pull up the template email. I wouldn't have to change anything. I did a custom value for first name. But what I did do is for each of the links I wanted them to visit, I turned them into a trigger link so that not only am I sending the email, I know they're going to open it, but what is more important to me is I know they're clicking on the link so that they're
Right.
interested. They're displaying interest to me. That's some form of action that I know demonstrates what would be considered a buyer action of
Yep.
sorts. And so we are going to get those records inside, and then I'm going to prioritize who I call back by the people who actually took action on what I sent them and were,
Yeah.
in my world, sincere about helping me because I asked every one of them. I know
They're
you're the
interested.
pro. Well, I
Yeah.
said I know you're the pro down there. I'm going to defer to you. I'm not the pro yet. I would like you to help me with your expertise. Would you be willing to do that? And they all
Right.
said, absolutely, I'll help.
But
So,
at the same point, you're helping. Your goal is to help them, right? They're helping you with their expertise, but you're providing value to them with these ultimate guides.
right, but just like you said at the beginning, I know you are a go-giver. What I want to determine if they're also go-givers.
Yeah.
So if they click on the trigger link, then I know they had a sincere interest and they actually, when I asked them if they would help me and they said yes, they actually are going to help me.
Right.
So
Right.
those are the I'm not just calling everybody, and yes, they were good conversations, but we both know good intentions are always, many times just left as good intentions. People don't take action on those good intentions.
Sure.
And
Yep.
so that's what I'm looking for. And the trigger links are going to help me do that, which is
I
just
love it.
another layer of knowledge for us.
Yeah. And I do want to say I love this method that you came up with really in the last few days here.
Yeah.
Because cold calling is not something that's natural to me.
Yep.
The podcast is not something that's natural to me. Doing Facebook ads is not something that's natural to me. But one of the things that is on my list for next week is to, and I know you're going to help me with this, is to get a list together of homeowners for me to start cold calling. But we're going to use this same method, and I feel like that already makes it that much easier, or makes it feel that much easier for me to make that call with that icebreaker. versus just calling and saying, "Hey, I'm Jeremy Levine. We're a luxury co-host down in 30A. Let's talk about your property."
And you and I have been around long enough now. You've been in the circles of co-hosts for 5 years now, and I've been in it for 2 years now. And the more and more and more I see people trying to launch a business, I almost would say at this point, I don't think you should do it yourself. I think you should make
Yeah,
your co-host business big enough and have a partner instead
I
of
agree.
trying
It's
to
more
go it
fun.
alone.
It's also more fun,
It's
right?
way more
Like
fun.
doing it yourself and just being in that silo. And yeah, it's way more enjoyable to do it with somebody.
And
And
for me, it's for two
we're
reasons.
perfect, right? Because I can focus on operations and revenue management, and you
Right.
can focus on the marketing, and we can share the guest experience and client relations, right? And we're just very compatible, and that's the way to do it.
Yeah, that may be a husband and wife. Like I know a couple
Yeah.
we're going to have on, Chris and Melissa Jones. They're a
Yep.
husband and wife team, but they're not. It's not an individual thing, right? Like so,
Right.
it might be a husband and wife team. In our case, it might be uh, two partners that we were strangers 9 months ago, and now
Right.
we're partners in
Yep.
a business. We have a formal LLC. We are locked in, man. We're committed to each other, building a business, and I think that is critical. Honestly, it we'll see if it quote guarantees success or growth, but I can't imagine it going. I
Yeah.
could have never done it myself personally.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be a success. There's going to be growth, right? Like
Yeah.
we're going to have some bumps in the road, and it's going to be a learning process, but we're gonna knock it out of the park. We're going to do it together.
And I think the reason why I brought this up is because of what I just realized. Here I am thinking about some interesting way to market to people so you don't have to. And here you are getting these
Yeah.
documents done so I don't have to. Like it's critical
Right.
stuff, but you don't have to waste your brain power on it. And it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the conversation. Life is happening. I don't think you nor I
Yep.
have enough brain space to do it all, so we'll just do our part. Makes it easier.
Right. And to be honest, the business that I built in the Poconos, the marketing side was something that was always I'll get to tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah,
didn't.
because you were busy
I just
fighting
wasn't able to
fires.
make the time for it, and I had
Yeah,
to
you
learn
were.
it too.
Yeah,
Right. So it was a whole new
yeah,
thing to learn.
yeah,
So tomorrow just kept being tomorrow.
yeah. Gosh, man, that is something to consider. Okay, so
Right.
the third thing that I did was I um, I finally got ChatGPT to return the first batch of property manager clients along 30A that we want to look to see if we can approach and offer our services to. And ChatGPT finally gave me the first 25, and I'm still
Oh,
battling to get the
you
rest.
already got a list.
I got a list of 25 that I wanted to review
Nice.
today and show you what that looks like because I wanted everything. They just couldn't deliver it, so I had to tell them just
Yeah.
to limit the number of columns. And so now I'm
Right.
waiting for the full list of the first uh, manager, and then we're going to go on to managers 2, 3, and, and,
Nice.
and go down the road and
Yeah.
get them all. So I got
Great.
that. So that's essentially everything that I wanted to do this past week. And then you want to do a test drive of the agent and then show this client Google sheet, or do you want to talk about what you're going to do this week first?
Yeah. I'll just. I mean, I'll quickly talk through this coming week.
All right.
Essentially what I talked about, right? I'm going to put together these documents. I'm going to post another Facebook ad, and ideally start. I had on here as a goal to create this cold call list, but looks like you've already grabbed that bull by the horns. So potentially start making some cold calls this week.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and just I guess a couple things. Actually, no, go into that stuff, and I can circle back later with a small win and just something else to chat about.
All right. So, for those of you who don't know this and are listening on Spotify or a audio only, might be Apple Podcasts, we do have a video version if you'd like to follow along in this. If you're watching via YouTube or Facebook, then you're going to be able to see this. But what I want to do is I want to go through the two resources we've developed this week that we're going to be pursuing, and I think Jeremy and I are also locked in on the idea that we have about 90 days to get some clients here. there's a window
Yeah.
of opportunity that the main high season is over in 30A. There's the shoulder down season coming that we think that the opportunity exists for agents to help us, for the owners to be receptive, and so we're going to push right now. So one of the things we
Right.
did is, I'm just going to show you this, is I am going to talk about how we're analyzing the market, and we're looking at a competitor, and what we're doing is we're getting some information. We're getting the manager name, we're getting the property name, we're getting the address, we're getting the community, and then we're going to use that, and they're also providing us with the link to that property. And what we're going to do is we're going to use that to analyze the property and the performance of that property. So we're going to look at star ratings. We're going to try to find
Yep.
their listing on the major OTAs,
Yep.
and then we're going to apply our standards to the listing. And if they're not meeting them, and
Right.
I'll let
And
me let
we'll
you
look at the
talk about it.
reviews. Look at the reviews as well, right, and see if there are some recurring issues that are popping up.
Yeah,
Um,
let's talk about briefly. I know it's going to be more detailed than this, but just I didn't even prepare you for this, but when we talk about analyzing a property quickly, just like 3 to 5 categories that you would look at to determine whether we pretty much know we can do better than this property's doing. What are you going to be looking
yeah.
at?
I mean, a couple low hanging fruit. We talked about this yesterday of like, what would we say is potentially a rating that could be considered a problem. And we think if you're a luxury property, anything 4.94 or less is an issue. So potentially something to look at because maybe there are some small issues there. And then just really looking over the listing quick, you can tell in the listing description how much time and effort they've put into it. Look at the photo captions. There's just a lot of aspects to listings that you can see. Is this property manager asleep at the wheel? Or are they really trying to maximize this property to bring in as much revenue as possible? And then you can also look at their pricing, right? You can hop in the Airbnb calendar and see how they're changing their pricing. Does it seem like they're doing dynamic pricing, revenue management processes into their revenue management? So there's a lot of things you can look at, but like the low hanging fruit, I would say, is quickly looking at the rating, looking at the reviews, listing description, photo captions, and that'll give you a really quick idea as to what's going on with the listing.
So we'll update everybody who listens to us regularly on another episode on how Jeremy refined it so we could do it quick. But how long do
Yeah.
you think we're going to be able to, like, I know you're going to create a process. That's going to take however long it's going to take. But at some point, will we be able to pass this off to Kimmy so that she can look at each property? And in less than, can you give her some things to look for where in
Yes, absolutely.
how many minutes would it take her to analyze each property in your opinion? Just off the cuff, guess.
I mean, to quickly look at our rating, skim through some of the reviews and listing description and photo captions, 5 minutes. To
Okay,
be like,
cool.
does this look like potentially, maybe even less, right? Could be real quick to be like, oh, they're actually doing a pretty good job on this. So let's move to the next one.
So maybe, yeah. So what I'm thinking is as we do this, and again, we'll refine it and share with everybody what we're doing, but quickly look at star
Yeah.
ratings, quickly look at captions and pictures in order of all that, and then maybe copy
Yep.
and paste as many listings as we can into ChatGPT and just say, hey, pull out the recurring problem or whatever. Find us the recurring problem or something
Yeah.
like that. That may take
I think
just a
what we
couple
need
minutes.
to, well, yeah, but what we're going to need to do is figure out the way to prompt ChatGPT to determine is this property at the level of a luxury property that we would want, right? Like, does this qualify as a luxury property and it's not hitting those luxury property requirements and standards?
That's a good point. Like that may make it a two-step process. Have her do the quick work. Have us at the end. She gives us the list of all the
Right.
problem properties, and then we tell her of the problem properties. These are the ones we want to target. So go
Right.
skip trace those, for example.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Now let's go have some fun with this ChatGPT. See what ChatGPT. It's actually called a GPT. And what you do if you have never done this yet, it's pretty compelling stuff. So what if you have a paid account with ChatGPT, then you can go in and create what's called a GPT. And some people call it an agent, but what it is,
Hmm.
it is ChatGPT being instructed to stay within boundaries you create and you give it instructions, and you provide it with resources for it to do its job, and it does not deviate until you ask it to, unless you are very confusing with instructions. I say that because that is what I've witnessed over the past week. I have been in an
Right.
absolute battle to create this agent, partly because it was user error, my error, but partly because I just did not give it enough guardrails. In other words, my fence was not high enough, and so it would continually jump the fence, and it was just the most frustrating thing I've ever seen in my life. So first, I want to go through, and Jeremy, now I'm going to pretend I'm teaching you how to do this, so the audience gets
Yep.
the flavor of it. But what happens is, if you're going to create a GPT, you go into the nav bar on the left and you just click on GPT and you hit create. And then once you do that, it's going to pull up a window, and there's a
Yep.
configure window. And Jeremy, this is what I had to do. I had to name it.
Yeah, I haven't done any of this yet.
Right.
So
So I had to
you're teaching me right
describe
now.
it, and then I had to go give it all these instructions. So I gave it all the way up to the max of 8,000 characters and instructions. I numbered them all, and this was over a week. Like, I would do some
Mm.
instructions, I would test it, it would fail miserably. I would upload things and have it call on documents, it would fail miserably. I mean, it has been
Right.
a process, but as we kind of talked about at the beginning, I have several divisions and businesses, but I want this model, what I call the social media content agent, to be able to create content for all my divisions quickly, so I can hand them off to my project manager and we can do it.
Yep.
And all I have to do is essentially record the video. So I uploaded all these avatars, and Alt-Var has its own avatar, and then I created this two-step prompt system. So once I save this as a
Hmm.
GPT, now I have access to this agent. So let's take a test drive. I'm going to have you be the guinea pig, okay? And I'm going to show you how this works, and we're going to see if it breaks or if it gives us something interesting. So the way I start this agent is
Okay. Let's
if
do
I
it.
say engage the social media content agent, or I just say prompt one, so I'm doing this, prompt one, it comes up with the prompt. It's going to give me the prompt, just like I asked it to, and I do not want it deviating. So this is exactly what it does, and it comes up with these elements that I have to complete. I do not have to complete them. If I don't, it has to suggest things. So let's go ahead and go through this. Prompt number one starts with the division. So we're going to put Alt-Var, okay? And then the broad industry is the really broadest industry that we can apply what this topic is going to be within reason, so it doesn't go overboard. And I want to give you an example that has really been impactful to me. This lady, Ava, and her social media pages on Instagram and Facebook are personal brand launch. And I would recommend you follow her if you want to create viral capable content, because she's so good at teaching it. But what part of one of her videos was, you want to viral videos are viral videos because of the watch time and the engagement. And the engagement that matters today, in her experience, is watch time, because the social media platforms want to keep you on the platform, and then comments. She says these are the top two uh, impactful things you can do to create a viral video. So what she says is, in order to keep people on the video, you have to start with the broadest niche so everybody stays engaged and watches the video. And then you funnel that discussion down in less than a minute, and you address your niche market at the CTA, the call to action. And here's the example she gave. She said, instead of, when you want to do a topic, how to get your golden retriever to not jump on people when they come over, instead of starting the video with how to get your golden retriever, she says, have your golden retriever on the video, but say how to get your dog to not jump on people when people come over. So now everybody with a dog's still watching. And then she goes through and she said, instead of delivering the three-step process for how to get your golden retriever to not jump, she says, always say dog during the three steps, even though your golden retriever is the one being trained. Here's what you do first for your dog. Here's what you do second. Here's what you do third. And then at the end, you niche down your CTA. And the example she gives is, I have worked with hundreds of golden retrievers over the years. I'm an expert trainer and I can help your golden retriever too. Comment more for more information, or we can get in touch and have a conversation. And she's exceptional. She really is just exceptional. So that was a long explanation, Jeremy, but when we create content, even though we're in 30A, what we might be saying is we might be saying like beach travel, or not necessarily. And the example she gave too is you can't go too broad. So she explained you wouldn't want to say how to get your pet from jumping on it because it doesn't apply to cats. It doesn't apply to parrots. Like, so you can't go too broad. You got to go appropriate broad. And again, she's good. Like, you guys may think that I'm confusing myself for an expert. I'm just telling you what she told us. And so that's what she says. And you know what, Jeremy, I thought about this before we started our podcast, that I'm going to ask her to be a guest on our podcast. So hopefully she'll join us. So, all right. So in this case, I'm just going to do, this isn't going to be exact. This is new to us. So we're going to dial this in. So I'm going to put travel. So that's going to be the broad category. It's just travel. And then the narrow category is going to be vacation rentals, right? Short-term or beach vacation rentals. Let's do it. Beach vacation rentals. So that's kind of a niche. That's a narrow topic. And our topic is going to be selecting your Airbnb based on star ratings. Okay? Okay, so that's going to be the topic. And I'm not going to add anything for notes. And I'm not going to, well, I am going to add something for the note. I'm going to say experts know that any rating below 4.94 can and often does bury the listing in the search results. All right, guys, this might not be ideal podcast material, but in terms of length, but hopefully you're getting something out of it. So, okay, Jeremy. So all I have to do is do that, and then I hit the go button, submit, and watch what happens. This is pretty cool. So what I did was I trained this agent to use 32 hook templates that are all viral proven, and Ava helped me with this, and so did another course that I took. But I gave the agent these 32 this framework for 32 templates, and now it spits out these, and listen to some of these hooks. The travel industry hates me for this video. How Airbnb star ratings completely changed my view on booking beach rentals. I ditched 4.8 star ratings, and you won't believe what happened next. Why choosing a 4.8 star Airbnb is a total scam. The confession is brutal. The point of this is every one of these templates has proven to be a video that's gotten over 1 million views. So I've restricted the agent to not doing it on their own, not create anything. And so what the next point is, this is step 1 of step 2 of the process. So step 2 of the process is selecting my favorite 3 hooks and adding any information that I have already. And if I don't have any information, I instruct the agent to create it. So let's say the 5-star rating system has a real dark side. My story is an absolute nightmare. The best and worst advice I received on booking Airbnb rentals. Let's go with that one, number 1. We're going to go with that one as hook number 1. Okay, so we're going to do this one. And then we're going to do here are the hard truths about Airbnb star ratings nobody likes to talk about. These are so good, and you can tweak them, but I hope you guys are getting the point. The top 3 things I wish I knew before booking an Airbnb. Right? Okay, so we're going to go with these 3. And so what I have created here with this agent is the ability for me to select, based on the hook I like, what the angle will be. And there's angles like educational angle or storyteller angle. And then the format is what am I going to do in the video? Do I want it to be on the beach walking, or do I want it to be all of these things, and then any additional notes I want to provide, or what the payoff needs to be? The payoff is what Ava suggests is that the payoff needs to happen in the last 5 seconds, and it needs to resolve the curiosity gap and the hook that you created in the first 5 seconds. So for me, that's the only thing I'm going to put here is if you don't a 4.94 rating or better, you are likely in trouble. All right, I'm gonna put that as the payoff for all three hooks and all three scripts. And so I'm gonna put that in there as the payoff. And we're gonna see if my agent does what I'm asking it to do. So because that's the only thing I've given it, it should create something that I've asked it to be an expert in social media content creation. And the only thing it should definitely do is put the payoff as that. Let's see what happens. What it is going to do is it's going to suggest, because I didn't give any suggestions to any of these things, it's first going to suggest them. And you'll notice it inserted the payoff just like I asked it to in every single hook. So now it's got all the elements of my script, and now it's going to say, do you want me to create the full scripts? Lock these in and create the full scripts. So I'll put create the full scripts. And then I'm going to read the script to you. I'll read the script to everybody. You're going to be like, oh, that's a good start. It is hilarious. So, all right, so let's read the first script. The best and worst advice I ever got about booking an Airbnb, it could make or break your vacation. Here's the worst tip. Anything above 4.8 stars is fine. That sounds smart, right? But in reality, a 4.8 means problems are hiding in plain sight. Missed cleanings, broken AC, or unhappy guests. The best advice, only trust listings with a 4.94 star rating. 4.9 stars or higher. Those tiny decimal points matter because Airbnb's algorithm pushes lower rated listings to the bottom, meaning fewer bookings and higher risks for you. If your listing or one you're booking is under 4.94, you are likely in trouble. Follow for more free Airbnb hosting and rental education. And what's the moral of the story? I would not read this verbatim, but what a start, right? What a way to start. And what it got wrong was I told it to have the payoff in the last 5 seconds. It put it earlier, so I'm going to have to edit this script. That's okay, but how much further along am I than I would have been if I had to figure out a way to do it myself? And all it is this two-step process where I feed it this prompt information, and I've taught it over the past 5 days, and now this is what it does for me. It's amazing. It really is. I'm almost at a loss for words, and I've worked very hard to train it. Weeks. You're absolutely right. And it's coming together. It is very close. It's absolutely there from the standpoint I can start using it, and it's now down to really small tweaks. Because I'm never going to get it perfect, but what it is it gives me this foundation, which is a killer foundation. I could literally, you and I both know, I could literally record that and publish that right now, and it's pretty good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's powerful stuff. It's powerful stuff. Okay, so that's that. What am I doing this upcoming week? I'm calling all the remaining 30A recommended agents. I've had some fun so far. I'm going to call everybody else. Probably 50 or so through call 'em on the app. Through the yeah, through Lead Connector, the mobile. Yeah, no, that's a good distinction. I probably will use VoIP and the computer at times, but I have been using the mobile app. You know you know why? Is because, and I can do this over VoIP, but I've enjoyed having the speaker on my phone and finding the contact in the app, and then using the desktop version. Take notes. Yep, take notes. I'm going to. I'm going to set it up. One of the functions we can use inside of Market My STR is as I create a smart list, I can turn that into an auto dialer list where it becomes an automation. I hit go, start auto dial, and it pulls up on my VoIP the first call, dials it through the computer. I have the conversation, and when I'm done, it allows me to record the outcome and do what I got to do, and it starts this 20-second timer. I can pause the timer and go for as long as I need to if I want to send an email, do what I need to do. But if I didn't get a hold of the person, or if it went to voicemail, all I need to do is hit next or let the timer go, and it automatically dials the next person. Well, that's it for our episode. Next week, I want to tease this. Show up, please, because we've got Dan Colonje, who is a co-host in the Lake Norman area of North Carolina. He's had some great success over the past year and a half, and we're going to talk to him about his experience as a co-host. He happens to be in our accountability group, and not only is he now a close friend of ours, he is a good mentor because he is walking the walk in co-hosting. All right, wave goodbye to Fire Island tomorrow. I guess that might be your last trip this season, but enjoy it, and we'll catch up with you. And everybody, thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next episode.